So, something very special happened today. I went and saw the Sonic 2 movie. Very, very fun. I loved it, and we need to talk about it. Like, we need to talk about it. Okay. So, I'm warning you. You think spoilers? This is like an in-depth analysis, full review, including the post-credit scene with a discussion about where we think the next movie, which has already been announced, is going to go. So it's spoilers. But go watch the movie. Go see the goddamn movie! Why are you sitting here watching this if you haven't gone and seen the movie? Go see the goddamn movie! I do also want to preface this. I have been in this fandom for 17 years. I was 4 years old. It was 2005. I simultaneously got this specific edition of the comic, Sonic Heroes, and I started renting out Sonic X at my local video store. Let's get into it. I have some notes, but I don't have anything proper written down, so it might be a little bit of a mess, but I will edit my best. Okay, so the first thing that I went in, I knew that this movie was going to be not a mess, but it was going to be... The filmmakers definitely in the first one were being very careful and trying to make sure that they were doing the best that they could to service the character in a way that the fans would enjoy. So they were treading carefully, and it worked, and they did really, really well. I loved the first movie. I thought it was the perfect way to introduce Sonic as a younger character, the perfect way to introduce Robotnik, and it also created such an amazing... Like, it basically fixed the problem that so much of the series has, where we don't know how the Mobius world and the human world, so Earth and Green, like actual Green Hill Zone, have been connected. And that movie fixed that. It was amazing. It was the perfect Sonic 1 Sega Genesis film. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing, and I loved it. This one, I knew that they were just having fun with it. This was a way for them to bring in Tails and Knuckles and the Master Emerald and put in all these little references and just make a really fun, crazy movie. You can tell this just by the animation style that has been updated with all of the CGI characters. It feels more animated. It's more... Even in the editing style, it's faster, it's nicer, it's more fluid, it's awesome. But I will admit, okay, so the first half of the movie, the pacing is a little bit strange, I suppose. Basically, they start off with Eggman on the mushroom, like in Mushroom Hill Zone on the Mushroom Planet, doing all that. But the thing that got me, in this film, they introduce the concept of the Master Emerald, and they bring back the fight that was imminent between Longclaw and the Echidna tribe that happened in the first movie, and that's how Sonic and Knuckles are connected. Knuckles obviously is part of that Echidna tribe and sees Sonic as the brethren of Longclaw, and anyone who didn't watch the movie or you didn't catch this, Longclaw's tribe and Knuckles' tribe were at war to try and gain control of the Master Emerald. And so that was kind of... Knuckles thought it was his destiny to finish off the job pretty much and get rid of everyone in the Longclaw tribe, which includes Sonic in his mind. Which was not kind of the route I was expecting. I seriously thought it was going to take more of a form of the Echidna clan wanting Sonic's power, and then Knuckles going... I wasn't exactly sure what they were going at, but I did like this way. But the problem is that everyone seemed to know exactly what the Master Emerald was from the very beginning, which I thought was a bit strange. There wasn't really an explanation on how they all knew. I suppose they all come from the same planet, but just the information sharing was very fast, and it kind of felt like it was glossed over a little bit in order to keep the plot moving, but I can look over that. That wasn't that big of a deal. In other terms of pacing, the entire wedding subplot was very overdone. It could have literally been, like, quartered down. It was weird, I didn't enjoy it, it was pointless, and it just... I don't know, it just didn't work for me, and I didn't really like it. Oh, we gotta talk about the addition of Knuckles and Tails. Tails is just perfect. He is perfect. He's literally the perfect iteration of Tails, especially as a young... Emerald Hill Zone-esque Tails. It was amazing. And the way that he went and sought out Sonic, and not only was Sonic a hero to him, but he knew that he needed help, and Tails had no hesitation and straight away went and saved him and went to tell him and warn him, and it was amazing. And just, I am so glad that they brought Colleen O'Shaughnessy back. There was no one else I could have imagined doing it, and she did such an amazing job, as she always does with Tails, and it's amazing. Also, if I pronounced it wrong, I'm so sorry, Colleen, but, like, you're amazing. The relationship between Tails and Sonic is it is perfect. Like, I literally started sobbing at some point. There's a point where it gets really deep and nice. We're talking about, like, Tails was telling his little backstory about how he was bullied, but then he heard the stories about Sonic and, like, saw him, yada 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 yada. And it was just, I started sobbing. It was so nice. It's like, they're brothers, Your Honor. Knuckles. Now, this is really interesting, because this kind of seems like a brand new iteration of Knuckles. They've taken the traditional Knuckles and combined him with the Boom Knuckles, so he's a bit dumber than the traditional Knuckles. But what's interesting is that the way that Idris Elba's voice is, and also the fact that he stayed with a British accent, he is more commanding. Knuckles has never really been a commanding character, he's just been an aggressive character, which I've always liked. I've really liked how Knuckles is aggressive and is not afraid to be aggressive, but this Knuckles, because of Idris Elba, is like, he is booming. Like, it's crazy. But I love it, like, it's just fun. It is definitely a much different Knuckles than I think we are used to, but I still think it's a good Knuckles. They have this really nice moment in the film where they talk about how Sonic and Knuckles are the same because they both lost everything that day, because Knuckles' entire tribe was wiped out that day and Longclaw was wiped out that day, so they are very similar in that way, which is something that you don't... Knuckles is, like, character arc in the fact that he is alone as the final Echidna is not explored at all in the games, really, except for maybe in Sonic Adventure 1, but it is looked through a lot in the comic books, and I think bringing that to light was a really good option, especially in making that connection to Sonic. And that combination of him being that Knuckles who is capable probably of a little bit more emotion than what other iterations of Knuckles have been, and combining that with the connection that he's having with Sonic, it's really nice. It's really nice, and I feel like what sets this movie apart is that the relationship that the main four have, Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Eggman, it's perfect. It's exactly how it's meant to be portrayed, and it's portrayed in a way that the games probably couldn't do it, because they just didn't have the capacity to. Sonic has an amazing character arc in this. It's phenomenal. And it is done through his connections with those around him, which is perfect, and it exactly is what the series is about. It's about friendship and those close to you. He has that protective older brother moment with Tails, and when he meets them and he has to protect him, and he has that, the way his anger built up whenever he was around Knuckles, it was amazing. He went from this, like, not whimpery little kid, but he was, like, just a cocky little, oh yeah, I'll get through it, jokey kid, but, it was amazing, the change that he had. It was done so well. The character relationships in this were perfect, and they were so amazingly written. Jim Carrey's Eggman, of course, is amazing, and you've really seen him ramp up that level of crazy in this. The first film was amazing at giving him that ground level to say, hey, this was Robotnik before all of this happened. He was actually intelligent and commanding, and he had, like, a status, but now he's just a fucking madman because he's gone insane over Sonic, and that's what it should have been, and it was so fucking good. Now, in terms of the visuals were really, really, really good. Yeah, they were stunning. Like, the characters looked even better. The CGI was amazing. There were some weird little bits. Like, there's a moment when they're in Siberia that you can actually kind of see the green screen around Jim Carrey. Like, you can't see the green, but, like, it's kind of very obvious where they rotoscoped him, and it threw me off a little bit, and I felt like there was a little bit of missync in some of the audio. But, like, other than that, it wasn't anything major, nothing crazy. Now, lore and Easter eggs. This was what was most interesting to me. So one of the biggest things was the introduction of the Master Emerald into this, which I thought was weird because I thought, introducing the Master Emerald without the Chaos Emeralds is a very weird take. In the movie, they took the pathway that the Master Emerald is actually not an entity in and of itself, but an amalgamation of the 7 Chaos Emeralds, which in of itself and in lore is not true. It's incorrect. But the thing is that it worked. What they did is that by the end of the movie, they had separated the Master Emerald from the Chaos Emeralds, and the Chaos Emeralds went off into their little space void like they always do. But Knuckles was looking after the Master Emerald, and it set that up, which I thought was incredible. I thought that was the perfect way to do it. And you know what? The Chaos Emeralds being one and the same with the Master Emerald, it's not that bad of a take. Like, it kind of makes sense. Like, they're all the same energy, although there is always going to be that that fucking MacGuffin that the Master Emerald or the Chaos Emeralds can always do whatever it is you need them to do. I think it was interesting the way that they said it would make thoughts reality, and then the Death Egg just appears. It's just there. It appears. It's fine. The thing I like about these movies is that they have a really good way of sticking to lore, but also molding it in a way that suits the story that they're trying to tell. One Easter egg I also did really love is when Tails and Sonic are in Siberia. They're in the cafe. They're in the tavern, and Tails' translator doesn't work. And I know this was just to keep the plot along to show that Tails isn't really as skilled as what he's eventually going to be, but as soon as I saw that, I was like, that is a Sonic Colors reference. But yes, the pacing could have been a bit better. It was a little bit all over the place, but the second half of the movie was just phenomenal. It blew it out of the park. The character relationships were amazing. Adding those new characters was an amazing catalyst for Sonic's story arc. You could tell this was an older Sonic. You could 100% tell this was an older, more mature, more experienced Sonic, and it started to feel more like the Sonic that a lot of us know and love from the games, and I think that's going to go so well with Sonic 3, which I am assuming is going to be the final one. I don't think they're going to go to 4, but it's going to be just a great jumping off point, and it's going to be amazing. Although I will admit, I think at this point, there's no real point for Tom and his wife. Like, I don't even remember his wife's name. They kind of, I don't know, I just don't really feel like there's much of a point to them anymore. They were kind of just there as a means for the first one to take place. And now it kind of feels like they're just shoved in at this point, but I don't really know. I'm curious to see how it's going to go with the third one. One thing I will say that the film lacked, I think, was I was a little disappointed by the music. I was really hoping for a lot more callback to original soundtracks. I was waiting for the Emerald Hill Zone soundtrack. I was waiting for the Sky Sanctuary soundtrack. I was waiting for the Mushroom Hill soundtrack. Then, although I will say that there was a nice mixture of traditional scoring and the addition of a lot of electric guitar, although I feel like it jumped a little bit back and forth. It didn't really flow as much as I'd hoped, but I don't know, I was waiting for Unknown of Me or something. I just really feel like they lost a great opportunity with the music here, but like, nonetheless, it was still really, really good. Okay, we're getting into mad time. We need to talk about that post-credits scene. Now, as you probably know, if you've looked at Twitter or anywhere for the past couple of months since the Sonic 3 movie was announced, you would have seen that everyone had been arguing about whether or not the red of that 3 was representing Metal Sonic or Shadow. And I am 100% Team Metal Sonic, right? 100% Team Metal Sonic. I would have bet my entire life savings that Metal Sonic was going to be in Sonic 3 and it was going to lead into an introduction of Amy, because every single thing that I had seen had pointed towards it. There was such a hard emphasis on Dr. Robotnik and his reliance and even compassion for his machines. There was so much talk about how Sonic's power, like his one quill that Eggman kept the whole time, could be used for this amazing power, and the introduction of the Master Emerald and the Chaos Emeralds would have been a perfect segue to using those to create the ultimate thing that could have defeated Sonic, which is himself in Metal Sonic, and it would have created this amazing introspective piece, how Sonic has to look inside himself to see what is wrong with himself, to defeat himself, and going directly against himself with the power of his friends behind him. And it was, and not only that, Metal Sonic in and of himself, it would have been this amazing piece. It could have been so wonderful seeing Metal Sonic come into his own as like this amazing AI story of being held down by your master but then breaking free of it and seeing, wait, I am a copy of you, and it would have been amazing. But who shows up? Who shows up in the post-credit scene? This fucker. I walked out of the cinema 3 hours ago, at the time of recording this. I'm still mad. I'm still mad. I am still mad. Because I think that they've made a horrible decision. Now, I don't like to be the type of Sonic fan to be like, oh no, Sega made a horrible decision. Usually I am pretty chill, and whatever Sega throws at me or whatever they do, I'm usually pretty okay with it. Like, it might not be what I wanted or expected, but it'd be like, you know what? That's okay. That's what's happening. But this, I was sitting in the theater. There was like 4 families surrounding me with kids probably no older than 10, and I legitimately close to screamed out, "Are you fucking kidding me?" I was that mad about it because, and you know what? I'm even more mad because as soon as that fucker, that fucking old Olive Garden fucker came out and said, "We've started a task force called GUN," I knew it. I was hoping to God that didn't mean anything, but it did, because of course it did. It just really annoyed me, because the thing is that bringing Shadow into this brings out such a can of worms. It's gonna be so difficult for them. The problem is that it brings out a can of worms because the only way they're gonna be able to do this for it to be good is they're going to have to change probably half of Shadow's backstory. Not even backstory. There is no possible way that they can go down the Sonic Adventure 2 route. They're gonna have to completely throw that out the window and create something new. In order for them to do a recreation of Sonic Adventure 2 from this point, they still need to reintroduce Amy, because Amy is the one who tells Shadow, hey, you probably shouldn't do this because Maria probably wouldn't have wanted this. And yes, that can be done by any other character. That's shown by this fucker in fucking Sonic X. But that's still important. It's still an important part. Not only that, they would need an introduction of Rouge. They haven't even done a full introduction of fucking anyone else, and you're gonna bring Rouge into it? You're gonna bring both of your female characters, plus Shadow, plus Gerald Robotnik, plus Maria, plus even more of GUN into one movie? I think the fuck not. Not a fucking chance you're going to be able to do that and do that effectively. Not only that, this story has been already done 3 times. It's been done in Sonic Adventure 2, it's been redone in Sonic X, and there's also the weird Amnesia version that they did in Shadow the Hedgehog. And I get it, Shadow's a fan favorite. I love Shadow. I love Shadow with all my fucking heart. I think he's one of, if not the best character. I think he's got the best story. And I don't like being that kind of person to say, oh no, they're gonna ruin him. But I'm worried that they are going to ruin it for the sake of bringing him in. I'm worried about it. There's absolutely no way they're gonna be able to recreate Sonic Adventure 2 from the point that they are. But, while I was very, very annoyed, and I wish it would have been Metal Sonic, and I think it should have been Metal Sonic, this does give them an opportunity to fix a lot of the logistical plot hole issues that did and do exist within Shadow's story. If they play their cards right, they're going to be able to fix the problem of why is Shadow a hedgehog, because that was never answered. It was never answered. We all know that Shadow was a result of the creation of a weapon by Gerald Robotnik, who is Robotnik's grandfather. And he was created through the power of the Chaos Emeralds and DNA from an alien species called the Black Arms. Not only that, there's no way they're going to be able to get through all of that in one movie. That is a whole nother can of worms. I think the only way that they can do this right is if they completely rewrite the way that Shadow was created. And what I mean by that is that, like I said earlier, these movies have opened up a brand new gateway into the connection between the human world and the Mobius world. One that was not explained and honestly didn't make any sense in Sonic Adventure 2, or even Sonic Adventure 1 by that matter. Although I will say, how does GUN have a fucking database from 50 years ago when they were only created 2 years ago? What, they have access to all federal data now? The fact that the Master Emerald has been hidden on Earth this whole time creates an even stronger connection. And that, to me, I think, is the key. I think that if the writers found a way to incorporate the fact that Gerald Robotnik, being a scientist and doing his goddamn research, somehow knew of a powerful presence in the Master Emerald, and during his research found some kind of connection to the worlds that Sonic and Tails and all of them are from, I think there could very easily be an explanation made that Shadow is actually made from Sonic's DNA. Now, when I say made from Sonic, what I mean is made from Sonic's power, because obviously this was 50 years ago before Sonic was born, but where did Sonic come from? We all know that Shadow is meant to be a representation of the past, and I think that is the way that they're going with this. I think what this is going to be is a full re-look at Sonic's entire past, and not only his relationship with Longclaw, but his relationship with his family before that, or lack of. Who was his family besides Longclaw? He didn't just come out of nowhere. Okay, I know you guys think I sound insane. I know that sounds insane, but I think it could make sense. I feel like if Shadow was actually the product of the Master Emerald and Sonic's DNA, it would tie everything together in the same way that the Metal Sonic story arc would. It would explain and revamp a lot of the things that didn't make sense in Shadow's original story, and it would be such an interesting introspection. But I feel like having them connected, like, genetically in that way is seriously the only way that they can do this properly. If they make Shadow pretty much the amalgamation of Eggman and Sonic through power or genetics or DNA or something, and then Eggman through his relationship to Gerald. Oh my god, imagine that! That would be absolutely phenomenal, that kind of conversation. I also don't really want to watch Maria die again. We've seen her die 20 million fucking times. Leave the poor girl alone. Although I will say, there was nothing in the post-credits scene that said anything that Robotnik was still alive. So there could also be the thing that Robotnik is not actually a part of this film, but that, I don't think that's it. I think that obviously Robotnik's gonna come back in some capacity, because how else is Shadow gonna figure out what the fuck to do? Yeah, that's my take. I think that's the only way they can do it, but that's just me. Now, I will say this video probably wasn't as long and as detailed as I probably wanted, but I might add a little bit more of things later on Twitter or anything like that, or more thoughts later on. But this was my base reaction to the film, and to the post-credit scene mostly. I am nervous for the next film. Much more nervous than I was for the first one or the second one, but we're gonna have to see where it goes. This one was phenomenal. It was fun. It was an amazing representation of all of these characters, and if you have not seen it, go and watch it. God, I want to go see it again already. It was so fantastic. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time. See yous.